Okay, and I'll turn it over to the president.
All right, thank you all for joining us on this weekly meeting. I want to start by saying thank you to the whole Ghana team on the ground for your amazing effort on Saturday. Your efforts, your struggles, your wins have not gone unnoticed. I think, again, from this giving event gives us a chance to learn for the future giving events, good and bad. There's always going to be good and bad situations with any kind of event or any kind of thing that you roll out. So I just want to make sure that people keep that in mind, that there's always growing pains. We're a growing organization. And I just kind of wanted to go in a little bit deeper with a little speech or talk that I had prepared, so bear with me. So I had to write it down because I'll forget. So if I look like I'm reading it, I am. Before we dive into the rest of our agenda, I want to discuss some tensions from Saturday's event. I know there has been some tense communication and friction on our shared platforms over the last 24 hours regarding the medical event. First, I want to, again, thank the entire Ghana team for an amazing project executing Project 4. I want to say a massive thank you to, okay, we'll pause a second.
Yeah, geez.
Elaina got here.
Okay, why don't you start that all? Start that all over.
Before we dive into the rest of our agenda, I want to address some tensions from Saturday's event. I know there has been some intense communication and friction on our shared platforms over the last 24 hours regarding the medical event. I want to say a massive thank you to Salam. Salam, you carried an incredible amount of weight on your shoulders yesterday between coordinating ground logistics all week, navigating the delicate community dynamics when people were out sowing their seeds after the overnight rain, and physically driving the team safely through the night. You protected our team, our reputation, and the community. You showed true operational leadership and cultural respect in the trenches, and I want you to know the entire organization sees you, values you, and thanks you. I also want to say thank you to Kevin for his transparency and his apology to Salam and the group. It takes a strong leader to look at a situation, realize they didn't have the full picture on the ground, and own it. This is the kind of accountability we need. Yesterday, we hit a perfect storm. Salam was navigating a high-pressure fluid emergency on the ground to protect our reputation, manage the crowd, and keep everyone safe. When you are in the trenches of execution, survival and community trust come first. At the same time, I want to understand where the tech and compliance pressure comes from. Kevin has worked tirelessly on the SHIELD app because as basic needs grows, donors demand airtight transparency. If we serve 800 people but only have records for 300, our funding is at risk. Kevin's urgency is about being difficult. It's also protecting the lifespan of this foundation so we can keep doing this work that we all love and enjoy. We also have team members like Ben, Warihana, Elizabeth, who have very specific non-negotiable roles regarding media, compliance, business operations, grants, and being the RN lead. Capturing footage is what feeds. I didn't mean to leave out Emmanuel there, though, so you're right there with Ben. So apologies for not saying your name. Let's see. Capturing footage is what feeds our donors and social presence. But I also recognize that when a crowd is surging, the division of labor can feel incredibly isolating to the person managing the chaos. Here's the bottom line. Yesterday was a classic growing pain. We implemented a high-tech compliance tool into a chaotic, raw, grassroots environment, and the system buckled. That is not Salam's fault, it's not Kevin's fault, and it's not the ground team's fault. As your CEO, this is on me. We pushed a process before the infrastructure was fully ready for the unpredictability of the field. And mostly what I mean by this is that knowing that the electrical problem was there in the village and things of that nature. Finally, we are a family. We share the same heart for the people that we serve, and we're going to learn from this and get better. Let's take a deep breath, clear the air, and move forward together.
Thank you for that, President. I appreciate the feedback as well as all the compliments on all of our hard work. And I'd like to just say that I think that's exactly what we need at this point in time. And thank you for your leadership with the team. It is invaluable. And this is the kind of leadership that we need. And this is the reason you're the president. Is we have a situation where people think that you don't talk and I do all the talking. Well, you do the talking when it's important, and so that's the difference. And we're grateful to have you as our leader. And I think that you hit all the nails on the head. And I look forward to the debrief so that we can learn as a group what actually happened and what people's perspectives are. So, yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you. We can go around the room really quick and just any feedback from that, and then we'll move on to a good debrief of the event. I will start with Warihana. Do you have anything else to add to what I said or anything like that? Warihana, you may be muted. Okay, maybe she's having. Oh no, there you go.
Hello.
Hello, Warihana.
Yeah. I can't even begin to express how grateful I am for the speech you just gave. It's it's been very uplifting hearing you actually appreciate everyone's effort on the ground, especially Salam. Yeah. Because we were on the ground and then we saw the things that he did that none of us could actually do. So I'm sure when he hears things like this, it makes him feel good. When I hear that I'm being appreciated, I feel good. I'm sure everyone feels good here. Um, Kevin's efforts, I really appreciate. I understand his perspective because we happen to be in the same field. When you build something and it's not really being used, then you feel like your efforts are just in vain. Sometimes when you also build solutions, it takes a while for it to be fully adopted.
Oh, I think you muted
I think it got muted, Warhana.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. Where did I cut off from?
Just right when you were saying you were acknowledging basically the software sometimes how it makes you feel when it's not being utilized.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, sometimes it takes a while for people to fully understand the software and being able to use it. And that is when the full fulfillment comes to the developer. Because I'm sure when we get to a stage where we go and then records are being recorded in the system from the onset, and then every person that we actually attend to, their records are recorded, I'm sure Kevin will feel good. If it is also easy for people to use, if people get to understand it, it will make the work of the on the ground team also very easy. Um, yeah, overall, yesterday's event had a lot of new things. First of all, we had a new arrangement. Previously, we had different tables for different things. So, vitals was on one table, then testing. But this particular event, we had everything on one table. So when you come to a table, then everything is done, and then you just go get vaccinated, and then you go pick up your pad. So that was something new that the volunteers had to adjust to, and the software, we were now training them how to use it on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were now fully seated, which was a big thing, understand our outlook, getting them to understand the new setup. It took a while. And then when they were now ready to use the system, that is after the Starlink was up, then we had to now teach them how to use the platform again.
Right.
And I mean, all these were new things. I'm sure the next event will pick from our pain points, things that didn't really go well,
Mm-hmm.
and prepare better. to prepare better inform the volunteers that, okay, this is going to be the new arrangement. We teach them how to use the software even before we get to the ground.
Mhm.
But overall, sometimes when challenges come up like this, it is good because this is the first of an event that we are having these integrations. So if it wasn't challenging, I feel like something would have actually been wrong. It's new. Of course, it has to be challenging so that we learn from it. So I appreciate the challenges that we encountered yesterday. And I appreciate Kevin. I appreciate Abbie. I appreciate all of you. And yeah, we're a family. And sometimes family step on each other's toes. I have problems with my mom all the time. It is normal.
Uh-huh.
It is normal. It is normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very
Yeah,
good.
that's what I have to say.
Thank you for that, Warihana.
How about you, Salam? We'll go with you next.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Presdo, for your well articulated leadership council. Um, like what Hannah said, it makes everyone feels good, and it makes me feels good. I think that I've said this before that myself and Kevin, we kind of have some similarities with regards to how we articulate our feelings, because and the beautiful part about it is that once we all free our minds, we leave it off. So I'm really grateful, but your words are uh, very encouraging, and yeah, it just tells why we are a team. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Like Kevin mentioned, I am quiet a lot. I tend to be a silent leader. And so, I think that's the psych nurse, social work kind of like I kind of stay back, observe things and things, watch things and not necessarily diagnose or dissect people or situations. It's just kind of how I lead. And then, I when I speak, and especially with a great team, I think that really speaks of our team is that I don't need to speak up too often. But when I do, everybody listens, and that's, great respect as well. Respect for me that you understand my leadership style and that you are, okay with it, I guess, so to speak. Ben, how about you?
Um, yeah, so I would also start by saying I appreciate the leadership of the president for coming in to diffuse um, a manner like this so we can all sit together and look at the best way forward. When there's an event coming or when you plan for something, the planning comes with expectations. So sometimes it's good when those expectations are not met. It's good you come together, look at why they were not met, and see how they could be addressed forward. So I really appreciate all you are doing as the president and for always holding us together. It's something that keeps us going. Thank you.
Good, good. Thank you, Ben. Emmanuel, do you have something to add too as you were there on the ground yesterday?
Yeah, I want to thank you to the President for everything and putting up smiles on people. And I just want to thank you for thanking us to and for whatever we did yesterday. We deem it a great pleasure. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Emmanuel. Too, I think I want to add, like you kind of gave us a perspective of how things were for you guys on the ground. And so for here in Oregon, we were preparing, for the Saturday event. On Friday, we took a nap. We're like, okay, we can take a nap, and we can stay up later on, because we were waiting for the 11 o'clock, kickoff and things like that for the event. And so we were waiting, and then of course you guys had some delays getting there. And so I stayed up until I think 12:30 maybe, and I told Kevin, I said, I can't, I have to go to sleep, but wake me, when you need problems. And so Kevin continued to stay up until about 2:30 or so, and then he came to bed, but then it was still, continuously checking his phone to see, if things were being reported, if there were issues. And so he was up off and on most of the night. I slept for a chunk and then got up and helped him with some things and then went back to sleep. So again, that's just how we work and how we did things. Wasn't necessarily required of us, but I think, you know, with me being a leader, wanting to know how things were going, Kevin being the leader of the app, wanted to make sure things were going right and things were being entered in right. So just to give you a perspective, a little bit what was going on in our little trailer in Oregon. So we were rooting you guys on and cheering for you as well from far away. So
always rooting for the team, and always there to support on the ground. I think that there's not been a time that I haven't said, or the president hasn't said, how can we support you? We know that we're at a distance. We know that things are difficult. We can't go fetch water or for the volunteers and food, but there are things that we can do from abroad to ease the burden, and we just need to be included in communication so that we can help, whether that's Emmanuel enter records, or Ben or Salam make difficult decisions, or whatever, or Warihana with regards to what she should capture in the video, whatever it might be. We're always there as a family, as a team, to provide that support, not only for people on the ground, because we need people on the ground to support us in our work. So when we're developing a board or documents or things, we expect you to be there for us, and so that we can move forward. So it's difficult having a global team. That's why we have these weekly meetings. That's why it's important for everyone to attend. It's important for Emmanuel to be there. It's important for everyone to be here. You know, I mean, Emmanuel, you're a part of the family now. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, I saw the number of records you entered into the system, and it was staggering. You know, I mean, we really, really, really appreciate your effort, and it doesn't go unacknowledged. It really was a great effort, and we appreciate it. Ben, when we saw the records that you entered, we saw the work that Warihana did, just entering some records. We obviously heard yesterday of the struggles and trials and tribulations that Salam had on the ground. While we can't be there physically, it's always better to communicate, because then we know, like, the expectation. I just want to be clear with one thing before I turn it back over to the president, is that when I ask questions, they're never coming at a micromanaging level. I'm not ever telling people what to do. I'm simply asking how I can help, and so that I know what's going on the ground. So I'm not asking Salam for a status because I want to tell him what to do. I want to ask him for a status so I can know, leave him alone, right? Like, he's busy. Like, don't expect, if he's not that he has to tell me when he's driving and when he isn't, but if a simple thing that says, look, I'm in crisis mode right now. That's all you have to say. In Discord, in a WhatsApp message, whatever, just say, I got a lot going on right now. And then I'm probably going to respond, let me know how I can help you, and I'll talk to you when you move through it. It's not because I want to get in on what you're doing and micromanage you. I'm not a micromanager. The president is not a micromanager. No one in this team is a micromanager. But we can't help if we don't know what the situation is.
And two, with that, we recognize that Salam isn't always on his phone, you know, especially in these type of events and things like that. He may not have his phone
For sure.
available and stuff.
For sure. And so I think that's where a lot of the disconnect came, is that it's not I'm asking status because I don't think you're working. It's because I don't know what the hell is going on. I mean, I literally have no eyes into it. And so I don't know how I can help if I don't have eyes into it. And so as a person who wants the team to be successful, that's very difficult to do from abroad. I mean, you could imagine if the whole situation was flipped and you were trying to be supportive of us in the US when we're doing a big event, whether it was with software or infrastructure or just making difficult decisions, it would be very hard if the shoe was on the other foot. And so I think that I just want to leave it there, and that never do I come at, not to Ben, I'm not going to do it to Emmanuel, I'm not going to do it to Warihana, I'm not going to do it to Salam, Elaina, Daniel, Luke, none of them. I'm not a micromanager. I might disagree with you, and we'll discuss it when the time is appropriate, but I'm not going to come over and say, hey, you need to do something unless there is an actual error. Like we had errors in the data, and I was able to work with Ben and Emmanuel to get and Warihana to get those straightened out, so that the data wasn't entered into the app incorrectly and things that we had to go back and fix. We could address those immediately, and so those were the kind of problems that we were trying to solve. And hopefully you understand that and know me well enough now that instead of sometimes the president reminds me of this as we're raising our children is to not expect the worst. So when you think that the worst is there and that it's intentional, realize that it's probably not intentional. And the way that I come across is with a ball of passion, and you all know that. That's why we're here. And so is to do passionate things. And so I want to just make that clear that I'm not coming at anybody individually. I'm trying to bring the best care and possible, as well as help as many people as possible, just like all of you. So I just wanted to share that, is that it's not a micromanager thing.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Salam, let's hear from you about the event from sunup to sundown, things that, just tell us about it. You fill in the kids and things for the other board members as well.
Yes, overall, the event was successful despite the challenges we encountered, especially with the data entry. And also, we had to start late because the people were at their farms, and it had just rained a night before. So it was an opportunity for them to show their seeds, for some of them to plow their farms. And so whilst the event was ongoing, there were 2 tractors plowing around where we were having the event. And so we started, I think, about 10 a.m.
I'm sorry, Salam, just to back up. So what time did I realize this as one thing that we're going to have to realize as a group is that each of these events that's further away is going to be more difficult to do just in general. And so what time did the team get on the bus? And it sounds to me like you guys were on the bus early. The bus got there, you were all set up, and then you're waiting on the farm on people to come from the fields. Is that right? Or did the bus get started late and we had organizational problems with getting nurses on the buses, or was any of that happening? Or can you explain a little bit more on that?
Yes, so the bus didn't leave on time as we planned, because we originally planned to take off. We planned that by 6:30 everybody should be seated in the bus, and the bus can set off by 6:30 a.m.
Uh-huh.
And we set off at about 7:30, so an hour late.
Okay.
Because we had to wait for some of the volunteers, and at the end of the day, they all couldn't show up. So about 8 volunteers could not show up for this event.
Uh-huh.
And
I'm
then,
sorry, just really quick, was that because of transportation reasons or the rain, or they just had other commitments, they fell ill?
No, so I think one person reached out to Ben that she couldn't come. The rest didn't reach out to tell us why they couldn't show up.
Okay, so
so we were an hour late. We were an hour late to the event, and then because the people were farming around the community, around their homes, they were also waiting to see us arrive before they come to the grounds.
Sure.
So getting to the grounds and setting up took us about an hour, after about 2 hours travel time.
Yeah. So let me see if I have this right. So, and this is what I'm trying to visualize it, right? So the bus rolls into the village full of volunteers, about 8 short from what you expected, about an hour late because of getting people on the bus. you get to the village, and are all of the tables and tents set up at that point, or does all that have to be set up?
Yeah, so almost all the tents were set up.
Okay.
Our bus conveyed the tables because we rent the tables from Tamale.
Uh-huh.
So we just got there and then offloaded the tables and set them up.
Okay.
And then I think we could have started earlier, but when we finished setting up the table, that came another issue of the nurses not wanting to work with the new layout we had agreed and planned on, and that was occasioned by their inability to all show up in the pre-event meeting we held at the office.
Aha. This is good.
So
This is good insight. So, sorry, just to be clear, this is the 10 table, and then the vaccination table, and then the consult table. This is what you're referring to that they kind of push back on. Is that right?
yes,
Okay.
because some of them have made friends that they've been sharing a table with,
Aha.
and let's say about 5 of them are all friends. What they did in the last event was that they were at the vitals table, and now they are not willing to split. So on the bus from Tamale to the event ground, I told Elizabeth, who was on the bus with the volunteers, to put them in groups
Uh-huh.
because we didn't get the opportunity to do that when we had the pre-event meeting,
Right.
and they resisted being in groups on the bus, and she couldn't force them. So we got to the ground with the same mindset. We work together. We want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So personally, when I insisted they arrange, I personally did all the arrangement of the furniture, the chairs,
Mm.
and when you instruct someone that, look, you are 5, you all cannot be doing vitals on this table. You are supposed to split at least one person on each table.
Uh-huh.
There was a resistance. So I almost quarreled with some of them. At a point, I had to shout on some of them.
Uh-huh.
And then they yielded to it, and then we split it.
And so
By that
I'm
time,
sorry, really quick, Salam. I'm still trying to visualize this. So Elizabeth rode on the bus with them. You drove in the truck and were already on site, and where was Ben and Warihana and Emmanuel?
in the truck.
Aha, the 4 of you were in the truck earlier to the village.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Keep going, please.
Yes. So, and then after we were able to work that out, and they were now all seated, the community members have started coming,
Mm-hmm.
and then work had begun.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the meeting we held before the event, where we were supposed to train these volunteers on using the link to enter the data, that training didn't take place. Because the understanding was that the link was shared on the platform a couple of times, and the understanding was that everyone had tried it.
Yeah.
But people didn't.
Aha. Okay. Oh, one more second, Salam, if I could get you to back up. So you set up all of the chairs. You set chairs in front of each of the tables. Is that correct?
Yes.
Each of the 10 tables, and then when the people came, how did they know to go to which table? Was someone directing them?
Exactly.
Central point, or?
Yes. So again, I had to find one of the guys who volunteered from the community, who was supposed to also, because he's a nurse, but he understands the people very well. So I had to take him from his role as, I think he was collecting samples, to then coordinate the people and move them, because we had allocated some 2 tents for them to be seated,
Okay.
and then move them in an orderly manner to every table. And then we had 2 classrooms, no, just a classroom with 2 tables set up separately for the children as well.
Okay.
And then again, on the ground there, I needed to also find 2 people who could go into that classroom to control the case
Right.
and to interpret to these children, because they didn't understand the language the nurses spoke.
Right. Because they were speaking Dabani.
Yes. And then you know how difficult it is controlling children.
Yes.
So it was also another challenge. Then
I'm sorry, really quick.
Then-
I'm sorry, really quick. Why was the? I'm just curious because I don't think we've done it at another event. Was it why? Why did we separate the children? Was there a different need or something else? Or because typically, I think at the previous events, the children, I don't know what happened with the children. I guess they just stayed with their mother, or I don't remember. Or how did that?
we had to separate them because, like you experienced when we had the Patinga event, the adults wouldn't give room for the kids to be attended to. So when we did the separation and made them understood that this particular room was for only children, then the children were attended to.
Okay. So it was again it was a split to better serve the children.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Then when they started, Warihana started talking to some of the nurses, showing them the link for them to begin to enter the data.
Yeah.
There was no no network, and then Ben couldn't also set up the Starlink because he needed internet connection to be able to set it up at the community.
I'm sorry.
So he had to.
I'm sorry. I guess we'll get to Ben on that. Let just keep going. Yeah, just keep going with what you got then, Salam.
Yes. So he had to travel to the nearby community, the next community, to do the setup, and then brought it back to the village. I mean, to the event center, which also takes some time.
Yeah, I see.
And
This was probably the location of the Starlink wouldn't connect because it was out of range of his area that it was set up in. I get it. Okay, I'm with you.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was what happened. But I had anticipated that we might have some of these challenges. So a night to the program, I had gone for dinner and I was just heading back home. And I said, no, if we don't at least keep some forms to back up, and then we get to the event center and then things don't work because we are trying a new thing, then we are going to be stuck.
Yeah.
And so I called Ben and I asked Ben, because I had discussed that with him, and I told him that he should review the form we've been using to include the other elements that were included in this new data collection.
Yeah, the Shield app. The Shield app, yeah.
Yes. So he reworked the form and printed 500 copies at the office.
Okay.
And then, but by the time Ben returned from setting up the Starlink and we started entering the data, then I was informed that we were running out of the forms. And we couldn't catch up with entering the data immediately because, like what Hannah stated earlier, most of the volunteers, it was now on the ground that they were being trained. Warihana, Ben, and then Ima had to now train some of them as to how to enter it. Yeah. And we had complaints of their phones being very slow,
right,
and all of that. So I had to go back to Gushegu again to print 300 more forms.
Oh my gosh.
Just to come and back up in case we were not able to enter. And at the end of the day, I think we were able to meet our targets, but the data that was entered on field was about 300.
Mm-hmm.
And the forms, just like we've done in the past, we gathered the forms to the office and to enter at the office so that we can have a complete set of data from the field.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a great synopsis of what happened because I was not, I obviously had no insight into any of that. I was simply watching the data, as I've said, is I was simply watching the data come in through the interface that I built to watch the back end data come in, and as I was watching it, I was seeing about 2 entries a minute. And so I thought, okay, everything is going well. The nurses have been trained. They are entering the data. I had heard no status on the ground that we're having issues. Not that I need to know everything, but I had no inclination to know that things weren't going well. And so, yeah, I think that's something that I was not aware of. So I appreciate that synopsis. And clearly there were a lot of decisions that had to be made, and we appreciate you for making those, Salam. Thank you for that, and all of your effort, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing I want to add is I am seeing that possibly our nurses are too comfortable. And this sometimes happens in the RN community because they feel like, well, you need me. There's a shortage of nurses, so you need me. And at least in the U.S. And so, a certain type of arrogance comes out and it's like, well, they need me. I can do whatever I want or push things around. So we may have to have a little reality check with our nurses as far as like, you must attend the meeting beforehand. It's mandatory. If you don't, then we'll have a wait list of nurses waiting to take your place. And if you don't show up, yes, I understand the rains can happen, family emergencies can happen, things like that they don't show up the day of. But I think we need to have like a wait list or something like that and let our nurses know, there's other people that we could have and break up these little cliques that we like to do as nurses, unfortunately. Yeah. So
I think that's a good point, and maybe a suggestion might be to have the sign up sheet not on WhatsApp, but have it at the training session, so that you have to attend the training session if you're going to put your name down. You have to be at the office the night before, the week, 2 days before, whenever. That might be a way to improve that, is to actually put the list there. And then also, this is something that, that I talked about or thought about, was that, we also need to be able to filter out nurses that don't show up. And so I don't know how we go about doing that, but I just wanted to say that, if the nurses say they're going to be there and they can't be there, but just like with any work, if you call in and you say, my car's broke down, the rains are too heavy, whatever, then that's acceptable. But if you just do a no-show, then don't come back, because we can't have no-shows. That just puts way too much stress on all the other volunteers, and it also makes the entire event be more difficult.
Yeah, I think, never in my life have I showed up to a volunteer opportunity and said, no, I'm not going to do that, what the organizers asking me to do. And so that's where I kind of feel like, okay, it's a little bit too comfortable. And I understand they have friends and things like that, but maybe, attend the volunteer meeting so then you can keep with your group of 5 if you want to, or just, have group 5 at one table doing everything or whatever. Like I mentioned before, nurses can draw blood too. I think some, at least I noticed at the village event, they didn't want to draw blood, but they can draw blood as well and stuff. So I think we need to push them a little bit, and let them know, like, there's other people, other medical people, even RNs don't need to do all of this. There could be doctors, there could be the laboratory people that could do it as well. So I think, not that I want to scare everybody away, but I definitely noticed, like, when I sent the thank you in WhatsApp to the group, there was a few responses, not as many as I had in the past. And so I didn't know what that's from. I could be reading too much into it as well. But I think we definitely need to work on our volunteer base of the RNs for sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, Ben, can we go to you next?
Yep. So
Take it to Ben.
we,
If you could take it from the top, like when you left in the morning, how it all just start in the very beginning, if you could.
okay. So in the morning we're actually supposed to leave at 6:30,
Okay.
but we left just as Salam said a bit later than that.
Hmm.
So I am even thinking some of the volunteers might have come after we left, because here people are used to
Uh-huh.
attending things very late, because we are just about moving, then someone arrived and they opened for her to join.
Uh-huh.
So though we stated we are leaving at 6:30,
Uh-huh.
some would have assumed that probably we'll leave it 2 weeks, 2 hours after the time, and
Uh,
they were a bit reluctant, so they
Uh-huh.
were not able to catch up. And
Okay.
also the community, from my observation, it's a bit far from Tamale, so we
Hmm.
spent some time on the way
Yeah.
before we actually got to the community. So in all the time we start, that all reduced the time we had to work
Hmm.
over there.
Hmm.
Yes. One of the challenges I had also was with the Starlink.
Uh-huh.
I had not, because we are on a residential plan.
Yeah.
From Pattinger's event, we had it easy, but I didn't know how that would be when we go to a community that has no network at all. So
Right.
when we went to Pattinger event, all we had to do was to change the service location from Tamale to Pattinger, and an email was sent. An OTP will be sent for you to confirm that you're actually the one authorizing the change of location. So
Uh-huh.
because I used my mobile data to receive the email,
Yeah.
then we quickly did that. But when we got to this community and we started, even loading up Google Maps to know where exactly you were was a challenge.
Uh-huh.
So that was when I had to put a location I felt was closer to Bushego,
Hmm.
or the community we were. And I noticed that an OTP was sent to an email address,
Yeah.
but there is no cellular data there to access the email.
Right.
So we had to travel back to um, the nearest community we could get with better internet
Hmm.
to be able to change the location there. Though it wasn't even that strong, but we were able to get the OTP. So
Uh-huh.
the moment we got back, I noticed I got an email that your service location is a bit far away from where you are. But fortunately, that didn't hinder the connection. We were still able to proceed with that.
Uh-huh.
So one thing that is I noted that we would have to change the our service plan to the roaming
Yeah,
if we
that
would.
without a doubt, the solution for that is to just change it to the roaming and pay the difference, and that's what we'll do. So, Ben, if you could take the action item to change that plan to the roaming, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yes. Okay. And also when we started,
I'm sorry,
actually when we
just really quick. It's only on that one plan, that one dish, correct?
yes, just that one dish.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay, sure. So when we started the program too, when the nurses came, it was actually a few of them that was serious with the app we met. So on the whiteboard, I wrote the pin there and the project ID for the test.
Uh-huh.
And because a lot had not shown up, we did not go deep into it. So I
Hmm.
said before the day of the event, at least all of them, when they get back home, they can try it, whatever questions they have.
Yeah.
They can drop it on the page before we. I think we still had 2 days to the event because we had met on Thursday. So when we started, and I had to, Emmanuel, myself, and Warihana, I had to pinpoint those of the faces I felt they were present at the office when
Uh-huh.
we met the volunteers, to tell them that we had already spoken of the app, so we will be expecting that you would use the app.
Yeah.
And that was when we noticed that most of them had not even tried it
Uh-huh.
upon the discussions we had. So
Hmm.
the few that were able to try it, we asked them to input that. So they were few names you were seeing pop up, Mariam and Niza and the rest, they
Yeah.
were able to input some of the data.
Uh-huh.
So as we were going, then they went on a break. So Emmanuel had to also sit at one of the tables so that those who were not able to enter it, he would take all. He will help them in entering it.
Yeah.
So that's why you could see that Emmanuel was entering at a point where Hannah was entering.
Yeah.
And when things had calmed down, I also joined in entering some of them because we had to set up to start with the Facebook Live as well,
Mm-hmm.
as well as trying to get pictures. So I remember at a point where Hannah was telling me that I have to try and get pictures for her, and I said, yes, I know, I'm taking pictures as well.
Right.
So yeah, so but when they went for
I'm sorry.
lunch,
I'm
because
sorry. I'm sorry. Really quick. Really quick. So at each table, was there a scribe like we had kind of
yes,
discussed, or did that not work out, or how was the concept of a nurse RN scribe at each table, or did that not work out and we had to do something different?
so that was supposed to work out for all the tables.
Mm-hmm.
So we're moving from table to table, telling them how each of them should enter the data.
Right.
Some of them actually agreed with us, they will enter it, but after we left, we noticed that they were not entering it.
Mm.
And maybe I'll come to some of the complaints they gave later on for that.
Okay. Well, I'm
Yes.
sorry. So,
So
so
we,
if just really quick, so if they weren't entering it, were they writing it on the sheet, or were they just
yes,
not recording it?
they were writing it on the sheets.
Aha.
Yes. So when when they went for a lunch break and they came back, I even noticed that we had about 4 people who were entering it out of the 10 tables. Only 4 tables
Yeah.
I noticed were entering it.
Yeah.
So after the lunch break, even the 4 tables, when I checked on the dashboard, I noticed that there wasn't data coming in from those people.
Right.
So I had to go to them. I told them that we've not been seeing data come in. And as that time, it was almost past 3.
Yeah.
So their reason was that there's a lot of pressure. So they had to assist the other nurses with the screening instead
Uh-huh.
of entering the data.
Hmm.
Yes.
And
Then
this is
at a
and this
point,
is
someone
probably this is probably complicated because we had 8 nurses that were supposed to be volunteers that didn't show up.
they
So
didn't. Yes.
that probably complicated it.
Yes. So they said there was a lot of pressure, so they had to assist the other nurses so that we wrap up because it was getting dark and we still had a lot of people to attend to. So their own discretion, they felt like let us attend to these people and rather record it in the papers that we had sent in case of anything. Then some of them too, when we were going around all the tables talking to them about the data, some of them said their phones were too slow and it's going to hinder them or hinder the process.
Mhm.
And also towards the end, one of them that was helping with the data, he came that his phone was off in the process. So it was
He
actually
ran out
a
of power.
complicated process. Yes, his phone went off. It was out
Uh-huh.
of power.
Uh-huh.
Yes, though there was a place to charge, but that wasn't lined up with the table. So it will require he leaves the setup completely
Yeah, yeah.
to be able to plug in his phone to have power.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So those were the challenges we faced.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. And then so one thing that I'm wondering is because the Shield app has
Yeah.
additional so just as a developer, I want to make it clear. I don't know how much everybody's seen the app, etc. I know there are individuals on the call who have never seen it. There are individuals who have worked extensively with it. But just to be clear, the Shield app was built to capture real-time data, not batch data. And the reason I say that is because when you put, for example, the blood pressure in, it tells the nurse if there is a high level of blood, if there's high blood pressure, and that they should be concerned about that. So that may go into whether this individual gets a vaccination or not, their pulse rate, all of those things are checked in real time when they enter the data. So the app is not meant for batch processing, because when records are entered later, if numbers that are related to high blood pressure are put in, we just record them, but we never tell the patient that they have high blood pressure. So the app is meant to be used in real time. And is what I'm wondering if from Ben, and we'll hear from Warihana too, but if any, and Emmanuel as well, but if anyone who was using the app found that information valuable. Do you know that? Like when it was giving
Yeah,
that feedback and said, oh, this
yeah,
person is hypertension, this person is a low temperature, the pulse rate is off, all of those things. Did you get any feedback that that was beneficial?
yes. I got one of the guy that was handling the children, Mubarak, the one I think you communicated with me and I spoke with him.
Yes,
So
yes.
he complained to me that he noticed that most of the people he was dealing with, they were underweight,
Uh-huh.
and that he made that judgment because of what he was seeing on the app.
Okay,
So he
so,
was asking of an intervention, possibly what intervention could be done to the underweight
uh-huh.
children.
Okay.
Yes,
So that's great. So the app in that regard being live and showing the RNs exactly what parameters those individuals should be based on their height, based on their age, etc. They were getting benefit from using the app in real time. That was my question. Okay, thank you for that, Ben.
yes. Um, so I think when we are having the next event, we would have to make some pre-requirements because we've been working with the nurses for a long time. We thought there were some things they were ready to do or they were up to. So one thing too is about the data entry. So the next event we will have to make it a requirement that anyone who is accepting to volunteer
Hmm.
should be willing to enter the data on ground.
Yes.
Yes. So they were a bit reluctant because they felt like probably we would enter it later on.
Yeah.
Although we had some instances that they had started and we were not having the network. So those ones had to be put on paper.
Hmm.
That there were some, even when we had set up the network, they were a bit reluctant and they were just looking at serving what we have always been doing. We
Yeah.
are coming to just serve the people, do the screening, and then write on paper, and that is all. So we need to let them know that it is very important for us to have the data recorded on the ground
Hmm.
and let them precondition their mind for this even before the day of the event.
Yeah.
And also, just as Presdo said, we would have to make sure that the meetings we hold, like the briefings we hold before the event, becomes mandatory. If we are holding one, it becomes mandatory. Maybe unless, of course, we get to a time where we feel that everyone knows what we're up to. But when we are calling you to come for us to pass an information, it is an important information towards the operations of the event. So it is mandatory to come. It
Yeah.
was only two before the event. It was only two people who reached out to me that they will not be able to attend the briefing
Uh-huh.
meeting. So I should fill them in with whatever discussions that would take place. But the rest of them that did not show up did not give any reasons for not attending the meeting.
Okay, good.
So
That's good. And I think
yeah,
having the papers there right off the bat allowed them to circumvent the technology. So,
Well, they had to do that, so
right.
that part was
yeah,
set up.
Yeah, and that was kind of like a hard thing is like when do you provide the paper and when don't you?
I think, it could have helped beforehand, and again, this is all hindsight's 2020, right? We're not picking it apart, we're seeing where we can grow from it. And I think at the volunteer event, that's where you can say, this is the new app that we're going to use, it has to be used in real time for these examples. If someone has hypertension, you need to counsel them on it, or they need to get counseled on it. If that tests positive, right there when you're with them for HIV or hepatitis, then you are physically counseling them. So that's why the app has to be used in real time. And also, there's another point, but I forgot it. But anyways, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, so these are the things I noted. Probably maybe along the meeting, if I have any other thing, I'll bring that up.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Oh, this was
Yes.
the other thing. To make the nurses know that why the app is important, why we're gathering the data is for the donors, for grant funding and stuff like that. So they come in and they volunteer with us once a month or once every couple of months, but they don't know the day-to-day workings of the organization. It's why we maybe some of them know why we pivoted back to giving events, maybe some don't, but at least then they would know, like, we're doing this, we're actively seeking grant funders, so that we can expand and we can do more giving events. This is why it's important. This is why we want you to be part of our team. Something of that nature, I think, too, would help.
Right, and I think to Ben's point is that the app is meant, the Shield app is meant to be a tool for them to tell them, like, hey, this condition isn't okay. You should, send this individual for counseling, or for counsel, or the blood pressure is too high, they can't get a vaccination, whatever it might be. So it is meant to help them as well, not just help us. So it's all good. So we should move on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great, Ben. Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. One last thing too. Was on the vitals of the kids.
Uh-huh.
So yes, they actually explained why they were not able to take the vitals of the kids, because when they wrap it against the hand of it wasn't being able to hold tightly,
Yeah.
so it doesn't record.
Right.
One did it, and there was an error in the reading.
Uh-huh.
So we would have to see if we can get BP monitors for kids, maybe
Yeah.
those that would be able to work well with kids without having any issues.
Absolutely. And we're gonna, yeah.
I take 100% responsibility for that, because as a nurse, I should have realized, like, okay, we're taking vitals on children now. We need the smaller blood pressure cuff, and so it is a smaller blood pressure cuff. Like they have larger ones for those that are obese as well. So there's kind of 3 sizes, and it's just a matter. You don't need to buy another apparatus. You just need to buy the blood pressure cuff. From my understanding, hopefully they work the same way. It just kind of pops off of that machine, and then you would plug in the children's one there. And so I can work with Salam and finding the other ones that are more appropriate for children. But I take responsibility for that fault there. So
Yeah, and I didn't know. I was like, hey, data's not being put in, and I thought maybe they didn't know how to use the app, or there was a problem with the app. That's why I was trying to figure out what was going on. And then the president was like, oh, the problem is the cuff size. And I was like, I didn't know that. So in any case, that's why I was asking you, Ben, is I thought there was a problem with the app, or that the training didn't go on to the individual. And then I didn't realize until the president was like, oh, they can't do it. And then I was like, oh, of course, now that makes sense. So in any case, that's good information.
yeah, thank you, Ben. Warihana, let's hear from you, please.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, or start us off from the beginning, if you would.
Oh, okay. So, like everyone said, we left an hour late,
Mm-hmm.
but the community we were going to was a bit far away. So, if I'm going to give you an approximation, it will be like twice the journey to Patanga.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's a bit far away. Patanga is the community that we had
Yeah.
the event when you guys were around.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's some time. And then when we got there, the tents were set up. Some of the chairs were arranged, but the arrangement wasn't the way we wanted.
Uh-huh.
So we had to rearrange the chairs. But then the moment we arrived, the people started coming, which was really
Mm-hmm.
good. It meant that they were just waiting for us to arrive before they come.
Right. Right.
Salam also mentioned that we're missing 8 volunteers, but when he realized that some of the volunteers would not be able to come, he immediately called Zuera, and I don't know if it was 1 or 2 other guys from around the community to
Mm-hmm.
come and support. So by the time we got there, they were already on ground,
Uh-huh.
and they supported a lot with the setup. Yeah.
Great.
So when we got there, then we set up. the first challenge that I encountered was with the skills. So
Mm,
the skills work best on flat, hard surfaces. The field, the floor is sandy, squishy, and uneven.
yeah.
So let's say I stand on the scale and weight is like 30 kg or even 25 kg.
Hmm.
That's obviously not accurate.
Right.
So that was one of the first challenges that the nurses approached me with. I don't
Hmm.
know who I spoke to, but someone gave me an idea that we needed to put it on a hard surface.
Yeah.
So we went into the nearby classrooms and then we picked some of the wood, you see the broken pieces, some of the wood, and then lay them down, and then we lay the scales on them,
Yeah.
and began using something accurate. In
Right.
fact, I'm even surprised that I haven't lost my voice. I spoke so much yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
It's everybody would come, what's going on, and then you explain. Today we are having uh like every table is going to be a mini event. When someone comes to you, you take their vitals, you do their testing, and
Hmm.
then based on their results, you either send them for their vaccine or you send them to the counselor.
Hmm.
Like you had to explain it so many times to them, and then they kept saying, "Oh, that would not work, that wouldn't work. How can like it was so frustrating." You would tell them, "Okay, this is something that we have agreed to do. Let's try it. If it doesn't work, then we'll
Yeah.
find other ways, to improve it for the next event."
Yeah.
It was so
So
resistant.
Warhana, just really quick. So are these people that are just we call them naysayers? Just they say no to everything, or are these people that had legitimate reasons on why they thought it wouldn't work?
They didn't have any legitimate reason.
Okay.
I felt maybe they were just resistant to change.
Uh huh. Yeah. So
Because
just
if you don't
naysayers,
try
people who
how it
didn't want
wouldn't
change.
work. Yeah, right.
Uh huh.
So at some point, Salam had to come in and then be very assertive, and
Mm-hmm.
he had to literally move people. Say, you go and sit on this table before they moved around.
Yeah.
And then most of the hospitals in Ghana, they don't usually take height. So
Mm-hmm.
even how to use the tape measures, I had to show them how to use the tape measures to take the height.
Uh huh.
And in the data, the
Mm-hmm.
nurses were recording the height
Ah,
in feet instead of meters. Yeah.
I see.
So when we took pictures and then we realized that the height was being recorded in feet, we told them they should continue to record it in feet so that
Okay.
we enter the data in feet, and you in the system can change the units of measurements from meters to feet, or you run a command to immediately change all the heights which is currently in feet to meters.
Okay. Okay. So I'm sorry. Just so
I don't
I'm
know.
clear. I'm clear. You because here's the reason that the height is there is because it's supposed to be coming from the Ghana card, which is in meters.
Right.
And so is what I'm wondering because that acts as the pin on the portal. So is what I'm wondering is you want either you we want them to be allowed to enter it either in feet or meters.
And do you have something to
Mm-hmm.
interject?
Yes. So what I have is about the height.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I think with the height, the reason why the tape measures, maybe we'll have to reevaluate
Mm-hmm.
because we're using the tape measures that are being used for carpentry work.
Uh-huh.
It did not give the measurement clearly. The clearest labels there were always in feet.
I see.
So when we started, that was what caught their attention, and they were putting it in feet.
Okay.
So when
So
we realized that that was wrong, it shouldn't be in feet, but rather in meters. We didn't want it to there to be inconsistency. So we agreed that everyone should continue to input it in feet so that we know that all this data is in feet.
right.
Because if some people begin input it in meters and others in feet, at the end you don't know which
Yes.
data it was recorded. So we decided to say, okay, this one is an error, but let's all continue to input it in feet so
Okay.
that we can know how to rectify that later on.
Yeah.
And also with the Ghana card, we noticed that less than 15% of the people had Ghana cards.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I'm going to
it
show a
was
chart. I'm going to show a chart on that in a bit. But yeah, I totally understand. And I think it's good that you consistently put the data in feet. I'll rectify that data from feet into meters, but I'll also make the interface so that they can enter it in feet or meters. I'll take that action item to resolve that. That's good input, and that needs to change in the app to meet what's happening on the ground.
yes. So one thing
Okay.
I rather noticed was that in such villages, people have national health insurance cards.
Hmm.
And on the national health insurance cards, we can find their full name correctly written and their date of birth there.
Hmm.
So probably our next event, when we are doing publicity, we would let them know that when you don't have a Ghana card,
Hmm.
you come with your national health insurance card. At least we can that can help us in getting informations like the person's date of birth.
Right.
Because phone number too was an issue. Most of them did not have phone numbers,
Right.
and especially the aged. When you come, they can't even mention the numbers. Even if they
Yeah.
do, they don't know how to mention the phone number to you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
getting that was also a challenge. So
Yeah. And I
I
think. Oh, go ahead.
yes. So I'm thinking that with the if we have people who have national health insurance cards, at least it will help us in getting some of their basic information.
Yeah, and is what we're going to do in the future is we'll use the National Health Insurance Card ID, the number that's on there. We will put that in as the government ID. I saw that in addition to the date of birth, because I'll explain that later. But that's why I renamed it from Ghana ID to government ID. Is we will just simply register their national security ID there, and I'll take the action item to make the change and make that more clear that that could be either a Ghana ID number or a government insurance card number.
Ben, did you have anything else, or should we go back to Warihana?
Yes, that's all from me for now.
Okay, great, thank you. Warihana, if you want to continue, please.
Yes. Where was I? Where did I get to? Okay, the height.
You made it to the scale,
Yeah.
and that's where I think we were. The height.
Yeah. So I think the tool we had works great. It had the different units of measurement. It
Uh-huh.
had it had it had feet, it had centimeters, and even meters. They just didn't know how to use it.
Ah,
So we just
okay.
need to know how to use it. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Um.
so I'm sorry, really quick,
Okay.
Warhana, should I adjust the interface to accept feet, or should we train the nurses to read it in meters?
We can leave it. We can leave the interface in meters since the Ghana card is in meters. But for this
Yes.
particular data, you would have to convert what we have in the database from feet to meters. But
Okay.
subsequently, once we train them and make everyone understand that the data should be recorded in meters,
Uh-huh.
then everyone will start recording in meters from the onset.
Okay, so I will do a conversion of the data from feet to meters, and we'll leave the interface in meters,
Okay.
and train the
All
nurses
right.
better on the tapes.
Okay.
Great, great. Thank you for that.
Another challenge was yeah. Another challenge was the that is it thermometer guns and even the BP apparatus. Their batteries kept dying. So let's say you use a set of batteries to take the temperature of about 5 or 10 people, then you need to change it.
Uh-huh.
So that's a challenge because they kept coming to me for batteries, and at a point we exhausted all our batteries, and then Salam had to go and get more batteries because
Uh-huh.
without new batteries, you wouldn't get the correct vitals to record.
Right.
So for our
So
next
this would
event, we need a whole lot
of these batteries and the
sorry.
batteries that are this, yeah, we just have to, that's a supply thing. We just Salam, and if you could just if you need those batteries, just put them on the budget as you know, batteries, and we'll buy batteries that we need for the event to take care of the thermometers as well as the blood pressure machines.
I think at first we need to realize like why they're going, because they should be able to do more than 5 people. So maybe if we could have someone, we could have Elizabeth take a look at those and see why they're malfunctioning, because they definitely should last, for a couple hundred patients, I would think.
Yeah. My sister has a similar device and she experiences the same issues. I don't know if it has to do with the kind of batteries they use.
Hmm.
Maybe, we have the cheaper batteries and then we
Yeah,
have the very expensive batteries.
yeah,
So we can try the very expensive ones and see if those ones last quite a while or if
yeah.
it's just something that has to do with the devices.
Yeah, I think it's they're related to the quality of the battery.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will reach out to
Yeah.
Elizabeth. I'll take the action item to reach out to her and ask her to look at the devices and see if she can see what's going on. Perhaps somebody could purchase the more expensive batteries for her, and then she can play around with them and
Mm-hmm.
see. So I'll reach out to her regarding that.
Okay. All right. And then when we did the arrangement, Salam had set up a table and put two nurses there for the consulting. So
Uh-huh.
assuming someone tests positive for B or HIV,
Yeah.
they come to the person for consultation. When a particular two ladies went to the vaccine center, the vaccine station, and they tested positive for Hep B,
Hmm.
they called me and said, "Oh, where are the consultants? They were just here, but we can't find them anymore."
Mm.
I don't know if they got engaged in other. So they were like, "Can you just handle it? Maybe when they come, explain to them what they have. Tell them that it's in the early stages. They should try and go to the hospital for confirmation." I tried, but I just couldn't do it. I don't know
Hmm.
whether because it's not my field. So I had to reach out to I had to get one of the guys.
Hmm.
Kevin, I don't know if you remember that guy that made most of the announcements during our last event.
Uh-huh.
So I had to get him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he speaks Dagbani very well.
Uh-huh.
I had to get him to interact with the people that tested positive.
Right.
And even with that, he only understands Dagbani. And most of the people that came understand Konkomba.
Yeah.
So we even needed someone else to interpret to them in case the person doesn't understand the Bani.
Yeah.
So the issue, the we just didn't have. We had a lot of volunteers, but the moment we start, then it's like everybody gets so busy, and it feels like we have just 10 people on the ground. Meanwhile, we have over 40. Everybody was
Right.
so busy. So I don't know. That's something that we can look at.
Hmm.
We definitely need people that have experience in consulting. We just can't get a random person to consult and
Hmm.
share this kind of news with someone. Because I remember I saw one of the papers, one of the people they directed to me, he actually tested positive for Hep B and HIV. I don't know how I'm going to
Yeah.
communicate this to the person. I'm not trained for that. So we need people that
Right.
are trained to share this kind of news and advise them on the
Yeah.
best way forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally
Now
agree, and
the data.
those the consultants are critical parts that of the event that we absolutely need individuals who are trained in that. And Warihana, thank you for stepping up and trying, but it's clear that that's not your role either.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did make a note already as far as like the tempo of our events. I know that we feel rushed and we feel hurried because we feel pressure from the group and from the village as well. But we need to try and control the tempo of the event. And I know it's easier said than done, but I think that would help everybody
Yeah.
else, our team especially on the ground, as far as like, okay, we're here, we're going to serve everybody, serve as many as we can, and just kind of set that tempo. That way everybody doesn't get all anxious and hurried, and things get missed and people get stressed and things of that nature. So we need to kind of figure out how we can do that.
Yeah, I agree. Now, on the issue of recording the data, I think everyone has touched on that. My only addition would be, I'm just imagining if we had, let's say, 5 of IMA who really understand how to use the app.
Yeah.
I think we would have been able to really record the data in real time. I understand the reason why we need to really have this data recorded in real time, because it speaks to the genuity of the data even. It does look as if maybe we just went and sat down and then concocted the data and then
Right.
input into the system.
Right.
So volunteers, I'm just going to speak from the perspective of a Ghanaian. When someone volunteer in Ghana, they feel like I'm just doing it for free. So I'm not really obliged like that. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
someone like
Yeah.
Lizzie and right, someone like Lizzie and Ima, they were sort of part of the team. Ima had a chance to really test the app, so he really understood the ins and outs of the app. Lizzie understood almost everything that had to do with the medical event. So maybe in our future event, just so we ensure that we are able to record the data in real time, maybe we can engage 5 people like Ima, and then let's say we are giving the RNs 200 cities, we could give them 400 cities just so that they take the extra time to really learn how to use the app. And then when we get to the event, we know that these people, they are not doing any other thing apart from recording the data. So we put them on the various tables. And even one of the requirements to even engaging these people would be you need to have a good phone. Because if you don't have a good phone, then you wouldn't be able to record the data. That was one of the challenges that we had. Have smartphones, but they are not that smart. They freeze,
Yeah.
they are very slow. Some of them even have challenges connecting to the internet. So maybe that's something we can consider just to ensure that we're able to record the data in real time.
Yeah, and I have a question on that. So we do pay a stipend, and Salam, you can follow up with this. We do pay a stipend to the nurses who attend, if I'm not mistaken. And so do they still consider this as free work? Or do we need to stop calling them volunteers and start calling them contractors so that they realize that that stipend is not what a volunteer typically receives. A volunteer in the U.S. would not get a stipend. You'd get a T-shirt maybe if you were lucky. And so is it that they were calling them by the wrong name, and so they're interpreting themselves as volunteers? Because I don't see that because we're paying them a stipend. I see that we're paying them a stipend, and maybe we need to start calling them contractors. So that they realize this is a paid position.
What do you think, Warihana? Warihana?
I thought Salam was going to.
Oh no,
Okay.
go ahead, Warihana first,
All right.
then we'll go to Salam.
Okay. So when we went for lunch and then we came back, everything became calm. We had a moment to breathe. So I went on my monitoring and evaluation. So Salam knows the communities that we have put up these boreholes. So I actually went with him. The first community we went to was Lom. Loam, the project is very clear in my mind because it's one of the projects that we're able to show the before and after. When you go to the YouTube video on the Loam project, you see the water source that they had before the borehole.
Yeah.
So it just emphasizes the need for the borehole. And that's why like that community really stuck with me. So we went there and unfortunately the borehole was not in use because I don't know. When I tried pumping, you see, usually when you are pumping the water, there's some kind of resistance. but this one was just like a free pump, and there was some noise coming from the head.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So as we speak now, the people are not able to use the borehole, and they've gone back to their well, the well, the source that they had before the borehole. Yeah. And then we also went to, is it the Chim or the Chim? Salam Ben. Is it the Chim? Okay, well, it was one of the communities nearby, and it was also the same story. They said that the borehole had a lot of water, and the water was very clean. They could fetch from it the entire day, and they would keep getting water. So there was a lot of pressure on it, and unfortunately, that one, the head also has an issue, so they are not able to use it. But then we went to Nacham. I think it's one of the most recent projects, maybe a year or 2 years back, and that one really works well. When we went there, we saw some young girls there fetching water from the borehole. So we even took some pictures of them and videos of them fetching water from the borehole. So I'm happy to see that at least people actually use the boreholes when we provide it to them. Um,
Sorry,
yeah,
Ben.
so this is what I remember.
So okay, good.
The two boreholes that weren't working are ones that we have put in.
Yeah, they are boreholes.
Okay, okay. I just want that clarity. Okay.
Wow, that's
Mm.
concerning for me for sure because we hoped that they would last 10 years. And that's what we've been saying. So I don't know if there's a problem with the well head or the way the well's being put in, but we definitely need some investigation into that. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and continue.
Yeah, that's all from me for now. If something comes up, I would raise my hand and bring it up.
Okay, great. Really quick, do the volunteers know that they're being paid a stipend and that if they are, then we should stop calling them volunteers and start calling them contractors so that they take it more serious? What are your thoughts on that, real quick, Warihana?
They are being paid a stipend. In fact, yesterday they were paid whilst they were on the bus on their way back to Tamale.
Uh huh.
So they are being paid.
But
So we would expect that they take it more serious.
they're acting like volunteers.
Right.
Uh huh. So that could be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ben,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Presido, sorry, I didn't hear you.
yeah, Ben, you unmuted. Did you have something else to add about the volunteers or no?
Um, yes. So I think the volunteers. How do I put this?
Just say
So with what happened
it.
yesterday, it's
Just say it,
it,
Ben. Straight up.
they are being resistant. Yes, they are being resistant to things that probably maybe they feel they are only supposed to do this. They are not supposed to do this, which I think we'd have to address. But I believe they are serious, especially with the work, and some of them are passionate with what we are doing. Think President, if you and CTO, you remember in Patinga how some of them were actively involved in what we were doing.
Hmm.
The only issue I think we have with them is they because they are so much used to just coming and screening and going, come screen, go. So when we are going for an event, that is the only thing that is stuck in their mind as their duty to execute.
Hmm.
So that is, I believe, that is one of the things why we accepting or having to enter the data was a bit of an issue because they felt like their job going there was to focus on the medical event and then we would go. So these are some of the things we would have to address when we meet them, that as human beings and working with people, there is a time for you to change the way things are done. So when those changes come, you will have to adjust and accept them
Yeah.
and not continue to go on the probably, we are always started with testing the recording things on paper, give it to us, and that ends it. and we were totally bringing in something new, which they had not done with us before. So they felt like even if they don't push hard to do it, things will still go like we used to have it.
Uh-huh.
So we would have to actually be very assertive in our meetings, our next meetings with them,
Yeah.
and let them know that this is a change that is very important to us as an organization, and we would want them to take it seriously, because I believe they actually appreciate the stipends we give them,
Mm-hmm.
and would have to let them know that if they want to continue with this, it is not just they coming to volunteer, but it's about they collectively being ready to move with us. Every curve we are taking, they should be willing to take that curve with us and not continue moving that straight path they intend or they initially had in mind.
Right.
Yeah, so with a volunteer, yeah, this is my personal observation I wanted to add.
Yeah, and before we go to Salam, I want to comment on that, and that maybe I want the group to consider, instead of having a group of volunteers, that we literally hire, like through an interview process, 50 contractor nurses, that we say, when you work for us, you get a stipend, but you're now contracted, and you must show up when work is required, and you must do what we say. We turn them from volunteers to contractors because we are paying them a stipend, and we have a set list of 50 that we call on for each event. And I don't know if that would change their mindset or not, but I want everyone to consider that. Warihana, really quick.
I think that's a good idea. I just want to say really quick is that I think that's a good idea, but it may be the fact that we need to explain to them why we're doing things and the importance of it and the importance of gathering the information, like I said, for grantors and things like that. So perhaps if they knew the end game as far as why we're doing these things, we're not doing it to make you jump through hoops or, hey, we want to kind of know this, it would be fun. There's a method to our madness, so to speak. So that's just something that could perhaps help as well. Thanks, Ben. You agree? Okay. Warihana, did you have anything else?
Yes. Our volunteers are really dedicated. I'm not going to take away from that. When they get on the field and they get to work, they don't even want to go for lunch.
Right.
What I was trying to communicate is, because they are volunteers, it's like I only come when I'm available.
Right.
It's not like the way I am engaged with the foundation that I have an obligation to deliver. I have to deliver. I have to be present for what I'm supposed to be present for.
Right.
So Kevin's suggestion is great. If we have people that commit to come for the events, and even if you are not able to come, at least communicate ahead of time so that we prepare adequately, just to avoid surprises. But the volunteers, they do amazing. Yeah, and once we actually change the name from volunteers to, let's say, contractors, then maybe it would also change their mindset.
Yeah.
Because if I volunteer, then I get a stipend. If I don't volunteer, I don't get a stipend. And I feel like I haven't done anything wrong.
Right.
But you would have actually put some stress on the team on the ground, because we are missing some people that we didn't expect to be missing.
Yeah. And by having them as a contractor, just the thought of signing a contract, even if it's a simple contract as an RN, that puts you in a different mindset that I'm taking on employment, I'm going to get a stipend, I'm going to be fed, this could be a benefit. So I don't want to talk any more on that, but I think it's definitely something we should consider. I think it's time to go to Salam. Back. Yeah, I want to talk to Emmanuel, but and everyone else, but I want to hear from Salam.
Did you have anything
Oh,
else?
sorry.
That was all that Warihana.
Yes,
Okay,
please, that's
can
all.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, Salam.
Okay. So, with regards to the volunteers, I think it's an operational problem. Whatever happened had nothing to do with the volunteers but us on the team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be blunt about it, that this event, the timing was so close. When we got approval and plan the execution. And operationally, for me, before you can actually execute an operation very well, a lot of thinking have to go in there. And what we thought and planned to make it go well was not what we carried out. So for instance, I remember telling Ben that after we've got the list of 45 volunteers that we needed on the platform, we needed to create another list and say, this is a list of people who will be doing data entry. If you want to do data entry, we only needed 10 people. Then you put your name there out of the 45. Then this is a list of people who will be taking vitals. We needed 10 people. Then you put. The rest of you are, then we need, this is another list for those who will be taking samples. Then you put your names. Then the rest is a list of those who will be doing testing. So we have someone doing testing, you have another person taking samples, another person vitals, another person entering data. Now, if we have these 10 people that were entering the data, and if we had gone by this plan, which myself and Ben discussed, but eventually we all forgot to implement, these 10 people would have been the only people we actually probably needed to meet. And those people, we could meet them even an overnight to the program. And Emmanuel could take these 10 people through the app thoroughly. So that when we got to the ground, these people know that they are coming to enter data. So that was a lapse from us. Operationally, we got to the ground, and now, even after saying that, look, you sit here, you sit there, you sit there, you walk to a table and say, okay, you guys are set. We have 5 people on this table. We have 8 people or 10 people on this table. What will you be doing? And this person says, for me, I cannot do testing. I'm not a lab technician. And this person says, for me, I cannot collect blood sample. I can only do vitals. And so you end up even having, though you have 5 people on the table as you planned, but out of the 5, maybe you don't have anyone there that can do blood testing. So it was an operational challenge. We thought out a proper system. Implementation, there was implementation gaps. And that was from us. Then the second thing is leadership. This organization gives basic needs. We operate on a very open, horizontal structure. And I think I raised this conversation with Kevin when you were in Ghana. The Ghanaian employee doesn't operate like that and don't understand that. The mentality of you should know what is right and you should do what is right, people are not always going to do that. Despite that, it is their profession. Sometimes they need to be shouted on. Sometimes they need somebody to be firm, somebody to say, look, you are either doing this or you are out. And so Lizzie being picked to coordinate the program, who happened to be one of them, was a difficulty for her because they wouldn't listen to her on the bus when she even tried, grouping them before we actually got to the event ground. And having been with them as a colleague volunteer till this point, and now having to shout at any of them and say, look, you are either doing this or you are going away, it's not going to be possible.
Right. It's already too late.
Was she identified to them as the RN lead for the day?
Please come again.
Was she identified as she's the RN lead for the day and she's going to be
for the day? Yes.
She was. Okay.
And so I communicated that to her colleagues who came for the pre-event meeting, but this was just about, I think, less than 20 people. Ben may correct me if I'm wrong. Who came? And so, yes, those who were present understood it because I made them understand that, look, she's only doing this for the next 3 months. One of you is going to take over. And so it's better you comply with her because when it is your turn, you need your colleagues to also comply with you. But the day when we all gathered, the only avenue for us to have had group conversation was on the bus. And I wasn't on the bus. She was on the bus and she was talking to people who didn't know that she had suddenly become, their leader.
Right.
to coordinate
Right.
them, all of that. So I think that there was an operational challenge or implementation gap that we need to address before our next event, and that made the volunteers to probably give the signals Warihana observed, because then comes again at a point I had to literally, like Warihana said, be very assertive and say, look, go sit here, like literally shout on some of them. And I understand that as well, that probably depending on my mood, I wouldn't take that lightly, And so, but all of this need to happen because at some point, you just have to be very firm. You have to demonstrate that I'm in charge, to get some people to do the right thing. So it's something that we need to address, and then let people know, let the volunteers know that, look, there's some leadership that you must appreciate. Though we all operate as colleagues, we wish to all be doing things, with our level heads. But for the sake of the fact that some people really needed to be directed to do the right things, though they might know the right things, we need to define that leadership to them, and those issues can be addressed.
Yeah. Understood.
Thank you, Salam.
The only other thing I had for Salam before we go to Emmanuel was, Salam, what's going on with those pumps? Do you have any idea that are broke?
Yes, so the Lomba well, according to them, they brought a mechanic to come fix it. And when he came, he said they needed to replace one of the rod. So there's some rods, some pipes that connects the pump, the real pump itself.
Yeah.
That drops to the water. That when they pump, it lifts the water up. So they needed to replace it. And then after he replaced it and left, it worked for just a while and stopped again. And then the second location too, for them, in fact, Warihana was being economical with the second borehole. Because what really happened there was that it was working very well, and then when it had issues, an old man in the village who claims to be somebody who fixes pumps said, oh, I could fix it. They removed the items, like they dismantle it for him to fix it, and he says, oh, it's late in the evening, so let's keep the items here, and then I'll fix it the next day. And then the next day, they call on him to come and fix it. He doesn't show up. They go to their farms, they come back. And later when they insisted that, look, you have to fix this pump because the women are suffering to get water.
Yeah.
Then he said they couldn't find, so that thing is like a car bushing. It's like a bushing that holds the pump together. Some rubber rings, some rings. He said they cannot find the rings, and then they have to buy them. But the guy who lives very close to where the well was sited said that, look, when we dismantled it yesterday or a few days ago, everything was set.
Yeah.
So you can't tell us this thing is no more available. And so you must produce it. And the entire community says the man must produce it. Then, only about last week, they realized that there's another community where they have a borehole, and their borehole got spoiled, and they were looking for this particular thing to buy, and they couldn't find it.
Yeah.
So this old man has gone to sell it to that particular community. So the guy who lives closer to the borehole got wind of that information and confronted him. So it became a major fight in the community. So when we got there, he explained to me and was like, because it has been a fight in the community, he doesn't want me to get involved, so we should go home. And I said, no. I came here and we kept in the well, we are not going. I'm equally going to meet this old man.
Yeah.
So knowing where I was going, when we got to his house, I told Warihana to sit in the car because I was going down to fight.
Yeah.
So I went down there and I told him, I spoke my mind to him, and I told him that he must pay for the item.
Mm-hmm.
And the surprising thing was that the item is just about $18,
Yeah.
like 180 cedis.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I was told. So I was like, why will you do this to an entire community, over $180?
Yeah.
Because if that thing was available, and maybe as you have dismantled it, maybe it was for some reason that you needed to either change a particular pad. Because one thing about the AfriDev hand pumps is that all the pads are easily replaceable.
Yeah.
And I think that was the reason why we considered working with those hand pumps.
Absolutely.
So I was like, if maybe you needed to replace a particular part of the hand pump, that I could see that this is the item, but it has broken or it has been eaten up because you guys said you use it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I can even afford it from my personal level, I could give you money to buy it. But for you to have sold something out of it at that price, such peanuts, you have to. So my conclusion with them was that they must replace it, that thing, and then when next I visit, I'll come and check and be sure it has been replaced. And we will now, because now we are having a different engineer who will be fixing our hand pumps. I will let the engineer go and look at it and see if nothing has been stolen apart from that, and he has actually replaced it, and maybe it's a damaged part or something, then we'll find a way to make sure that the borehole is working. But as we speak, the community is actually in disarray. It's like this person doesn't talk to that person, because the old man also have family who felt like the other guys who came to attack him, attack their family member. And yeah, but I just had to put foot on the ground. So that's what happened.
Wow. Okay. That's good to know. I'm not sure how we can prevent that. That's for another day's discussion. How we can how we can have I guess, and we can discuss this at another time, but I don't know if the assemblyman or elder or someone being responsible for the pump, like you said, someone was watching over it, who has brought this to their attention and done the investigative work that he sold this part. Like how we can better protect. We should take the action item on how we can protect the pump. Yeah. Yeah, to how we can better protect the pumps we put in. Yeah, it's a Ghana team thing. But thank you for that explanation, and that's good. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, Salam. Okay, Emmanuel, last but not least, we'd love to hear your debrief of the event as well.
Yeah, from the very beginning, if you can as well.
Okay. I think team members have said everything, and also that day it was a great day, and I think they have touched everything. But I want to speak on the project itself. It was a good one and a very great initiative, and I think it was a must do. And I realized that I really help the community members in the aspect of their health status, because over here in the villages, all what they care about is their farming. Basically their farmers, and they care about just farming and making an ends meet. But I think we step in there, taking the vitals and everything. They realize, maybe I think we saw most of them were tested positive, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they were educated and spoken to on how to go about it, consulting them or them in nearby hospitals. And I think it will help in a great deal. And I think there was a suggestion that Mr. Salam made about the entering of data in the Shield app. We getting people, I think, basically and purposely for that purpose, so that our next meeting, I think, will guide them thoroughly. And when we go to the field, they will purposely just entering the data. Maybe if we have 10 tables, for instance, maybe each table will have either 2 people or 1 person in the table entering the data in the site. And I think with that, it will make a great deal and help when it comes to data entry.
Yeah, that's good. That's great feedback. I was wondering, Emmanuel, if The question that I had about that having a designated person who may not be a nurse, they don't need to be, is that I don't really know the flow at the table. Like for example, if you were at a table and a nurse took blood pressure and gave it to you to enter, when you entered that, the app again is meant to show, hey, this is hypertension. This is a condition that you should be aware of. How does that person who's not a nurse or not entering the data get that information to the nurse who took the vitals? Do you show them the phone? Do you, like, how do you, when you enter the vitals, because the app is telling you things that the nurse should know, how is it best that that information is then communicated back if there's a designated data entry person?
Okay, so about that, I think it's heading back to what Mr. Salam said. So if I enter the data and it's showing me that this one is there's, I think I'll the nearby nurse, I'll just alert them, and I think they have a way of talking to the patient. So going forward, maybe in our next meetings, if we get those people, I think we'll thoroughly educate them on distance. So if you find this on the app, I think this is what you're supposed to do, and then it will be sorted out.
So it would be that if the app shows them something like when they enter the blood pressure, then they would be the one responsible for not only entering the data but communicating the data from the app to the nurse.
Yes, please.
That's what I hear you saying. So yeah, that's good, because that's a concern of mine, is that we make sure that that gets communicated back to them, because as Ben pointed out, there were cases where children were underweight and they wouldn't have known it unless the app said it. And so that's important that we include that in our training going forward. How did you? So one thing that I wanted to ask you is when people are let's say that we train 10 people better, we're at the next event. How do we solve the problem of people's phones going dead? Do we have a battery bank at each of the tables that anyone can charge, or that person can charge with? Is that person just responsible for bringing their own battery bank? How do we do that? And how much of that was a problem?
Okay, I think that was the first problem coming up. I think so Warihana touched on that. I think people they came with their charges though, but mostly the phones were very slow. Some of them complained of their phones being slow, and I think I took some of their phones try working on the app, and I saw that it was really slow. Even though they were smartphones, but they were slow. So you can even enter a data, and in the process of entering the data, the phone will either freeze or will go to the different site altogether, and that it was a difficult thing.
So not only should the person that we have as I think we should still call them the scribe, even maybe if they're not an RN, but the scribe, just because we've been using that term, the scribe, the person who's recording the data, it's important that they not only have a good phone, but that they also have a battery charger for their phone as they need to enter data for the duration of the event. Would you say that that's accurate?
Yes. Yeah, and maybe going forward, if we can get some phones or smartphones, there's a need only for those purposes, and maybe before the day of the event, they'll be fully charged. Maybe in the office or any player, they'll be fully charged and then sent to the place for those people to use.
And so then I'm wondering if those aren't better served as tablets. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is I really don't want to spend money on phones if everyone has one. But if I hear from you and Ben and Warihana and Salam that, hey, look, if we had dedicated tablets that we knew would always be charged because they would be charged the night before, Ben or yourself could take care of that and make sure that they were ready for those scribes. I need to know that, but I don't want to buy that hardware if I don't have to, because it means I buy less vaccinations at some point. And so I'm trying to balance how we should do that, and I'm looking for your input.
Okay, I think if there's a means of providing tablets for those purposes, I think it's a great idea. It will really help a lot.
And
Okay.
it makes sense too, because the tablet's only going to have the Shield app, access to the Shield app. It's not going to have other games that they may have on their phone
That are slowing them down.
Yeah, games and other
Yeah, sure.
pictures and stuff like that.
Sure.
So that makes sense.
Okay. And I think basically, even though we had some challenges at the side, but I think the team did a great work. And kudos to Mr. Salam. I think he was very busy there trying to make sure everything is perfect. I think, and the team as well did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree, and I appreciate you acknowledging that.
Yeah,
I think we all do.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for all of your effort and a very warm welcome to the Give Basic Needs family.
Yes, welcome to your first meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, please. I hope you
Thank you
attend
for
more.
having me. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, and everybody for their debrief. In the interest of time, we're going to head to the beautiful data from the app that we got. So I will hand it over to CTO, and
Yeah.
he can hopefully give us a 5-minute debrief.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I'm going to go quick.
Good.
So I'm going to share, hopefully I'm sharing my entire desktop.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and show. So really quick, this is where we could see the data coming in, and you can see the time and the frequency. So this is where I was watching the data come in, thinking everything on the ground was okay. We were seeing them about two every minute. This is where we're seeing the vaccinations, and where I could tell that the nurses were recording the incorrect vaccinations, and Ben and Emmanuel got on that and were able to correct that. I've also, since then, I've added the ability to filter, and I've added the RN's name here so we can see who's recording the actual dosage. But all these filters, so we can just type in information here and see all that Emmanuel entered and what they were, what their statuses were, etc. So this dashboard I've already improved. We can filter basic on all of the information, etc. So I've already improved this, and this shows the number of records that we have, etc. So we've got in here, we're looking at it 301 records, etc. So without delving too much into this detailed live screen, this is where this is the data that we came for, right? This is the piece that Warihana will use. This is how we sustain the organization long term. So this interface that I created looks at the real data in the Smiley system. It pulls back the information on how many patients were screened, how many vaccinations were administered, 265, which is amazing. That gets rounds and rounds of applause. That's great work. And then this is the tragic part, that essentially 25 lives are in urgent need of care. And then when we look at the reality on the ground, these are live numbers that update. We can see 1 in 20 had hepatitis B, 1 in 35 had hepatitis C, and 1 in 98 had HIV. And for a combined risk factor of 1 in 12, essentially came in with one of these life-threatening diseases. And so this is where the real impact is shown. This is specifically for our donors and would-be donors. This will be, I hope, integrated into our main webpage and allow us to then communicate the impact of our hard work. This is just a description. This shows the funnel as far as how we're actually implementing the dollars that are given, and then this is the call for action. At the very bottom of this, it talks about, just because we're the internal team, how many of these projects it's aggregating data from, one, and the last time that the data was refreshed, allowing them to then, allowing anyone to refresh the data in real time and see the impact that we're having on the ground through our events. And there's also the ability for them to print this information, to take it, share it in an email, however they might share it as donors or would-be donors. I'm going to then show, this is the analytical report showing even more detail on the event. So we can filter the event specifically by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up, or we can look at all of the events here. This auto refreshes and is printable. This shows us we had 301 encounters, still the 265 that we saw on the donor page, but this goes one step further to show 144 pads were distributed, 18 condoms were distributed as 18 condoms were distributed, and we can see 258 dewormers were distributed. There was no wound care recorded, and 278 bars of soap were distributed. This chart shows the impact and the positivity rate over time. So from the time that we started until the time that we ended, we saw a pretty consistent amount of entry of positive C cases. But this is the reason that we want to see this data entered in real time, is because we need to see if it looks more like the B graph, where essentially we saw the initial people tended to be positive, then it tapered off, and towards the end of the event, we got higher spikes in positivity. Now, I assume that this is related to Emmanuel entering some data regarding the positivities, that cases that he saw, but whatever it was, it doesn't matter. This is the overall trend line, and these are the HIV positives. If we look at this chart, it shows us the positivity rate, 5% on hepatitis B, 2.9 on C, 1% on the HIV, for a cumulative 3% positivity rate. Then down here we can see the societal shield, looking at the number of sanitary pads that were distributed, the number of condoms, the dewormers, and the soap. There were 2 cases where vitamins were distributed, no wound care, no malaria testing. And then finally, this was an important factor that we'll need to rethink, and we need to be more clear of when we train the scribe.
Sorry, is that malaria testing or treatment?
Treatment.
Okay.
Right, because we no longer test for malaria because it's ineffective. Apology. Yeah, sorry, it's TRT, not TEST.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. Yeah, so this is overlooking at the patient ID types that were captured. As what you can see is exactly what Ben explained, but I can explain really quick why that's a problem, is that we were simply capturing the ID as the date of birth, as opposed to government or Ghana ID. And in the future, we need to capture the ID of the insurance card, the government insurance card, or the Ghana ID, because that is a more specific ID than date of birth. So if we only capture date of birth going forward, it will become much more difficult in the app to determine who is actually at the table, and for our ability to fetch the records of that individual, because we'll have more and more date of birth collisions. We won't see it with 300, but when we have 3,000 or 30,000 or 300,000 records in our system, date of birth collisions will happen more, and because of that, it will be harder to find patient records and for repeat treatment to be determined. So then we'll start giving more hepatitis vaccinations, for example, because we won't know that they've already received 3 vaccinations. We won't know that their hypertension, blood pressure is an issue and that they need medication for that. That's what this app is meant to do, is to provide more care than just point of contact. We need to track the data longer term, and that's what the Shield app is for, and why it's important that we use it in real time and that we capture the correct ID. So you'll see that we only had 2 people enter Ghana IDs or government IDs. In the future, the scribes will be required to enter those government issued IDs and move away from the date of birth. While the date of births are there, we need the government IDs to be more frequently entered. Only 5 cases of the phone number. So we can see with the data that's coming out of the app what we need to do on the ground to organize and to provide better care, and also to report, as Warihana needs to see, the fact that if 800 people were paid for to be treated, that we need to show all 800 encounters and what it was we did. If we bought 800 sanitary pads or 600 sanitary pads or 600 condoms, that they all went out. Or if they all didn't go out, we need to just show that in the next event, we didn't have to purchase 600 sanitary pads. We purchased 250 or 500 or whatever the numbers are. So this is our inventory control system. This is our encounter system. This is our repeat treatment system that shows the nurses a patient, how our donors can better see our transparency in their donations, and how we can better improve our treatment and our outreach. So that was what I had to show. The other reason that this is important that we don't use date of birth is that there's no PIN that's associated with the date of birth. There's no PIN that's associated with the phone number for them to retrieve their records at a hospital or otherwise. The only way that they can retrieve their records through the patient portal is with a government issued ID and their height. If that needs to change because the height isn't on the insurance card, we need to evaluate that. But that's for another day and another discussion.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so with that, I will stop sharing and turn it back over to the Presidio and hopefully get feedback from the others regarding the data that they've seen and how we can improve.
Yeah, definitely. Salam, I'll start with you. What do you think about the feedback for the
Shield, the shield and the reporting.
The feedback on the, what Kevin just gave.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's very good. With the malaria, from our previous event, we had some few malaria test cases, and then we still had some malaria medications. So we decided that there's a health facility, a cheap compound, not very far from where we had the event. So I contacted them and I asked that the physician and a nurse who all worked at the facility come and then carry out the consultation. So they were the two people who came and then and then they left. They are the two people Warihana spoke about. So the understanding was that when we come, when we finish with the event, we can donate some of the malaria test kits to that health facility so that they can use it, because we plan not to carry out malaria tests anymore.
Right.
Unfortunately, some of the children came with obvious malaria symptoms. And so the nurses approached me and said, look, we have some kids here. From the look of things, they have malaria, but we cannot just go ahead to give them the malaria medication we brought because they will need to confirm. So eventually we had to give out a box of the malaria test kits for the kids table so that they could run tests on those children and then also give them the medication. So I think that's why you saw those entries there.
So is
Yeah,
it
but
true?
overall,
Sorry, go ahead.
overall, I think the app is very good, and I actually like how the data is presented. It looks very attractive and shows some high level of professionalism. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, very much so. And so is it true with children also that if they have had malaria previously, they're going to test positive no matter what, or is that more likely in adults?
So I don't know of that, but this case where I think the nurses, because they have experience dealing with children with malaria, they suspected, because they showed up literally ill. And when they interacted with them, the symptoms they said they were experiencing, they suspected it was malaria. So
Okay.
That was what happened.
Yeah, and I think on that, based on based on where we are, I think the nurses should just be educated in the future that it is okay to treat malaria without testing because the tests are inaccurate, even with children. And so I think if we have medication, we should just give it to them. I know we didn't have, I don't know what we had on the ground as far as medication, but the nurses, as you agree, Salam, I saw your thumb go up, is that they really don't need to test anyone because the tests are completely inaccurate. So if they suspect it from their professional opinion, they should just distribute any medications that we might have on the ground. Now, we're not actively purchasing those medications, so if they get donated or if those are from previous events, whatever the case is, they should just go ahead and give them out. I don't know if you agree with that, Salam.
Yeah, I agreed. So I think from previous events, we just had some few of the malaria medications left, and that was what they gave out.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Great. So I think that that's good, and I feel bad that we didn't have more medications for malaria. Hopefully, we can get the donations to come in or save money in our operations side to purchase those in the future, so that when they see cases like that, we can give those malaria medications out. That would be my hope.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, in the interest of time, let's go really quick. Warihana, any other feedback for the Shield app and patient portal?
Everything looks great. And the dashboard is just amazing. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I can tell you I worked extremely hard on it, so I appreciate that feedback.
I can witness it, and that I tested it a lot testing.
Yeah, I have testers who make it possible.
Yes, yes. Emmanuel,
Okay, this is for the president.
Emmanuel, how about you and your feedback with the Shield app and the
Reporting.
interface and reporting of it? Sorry, Emmanuel, you may be muted. Oh, there you go.
Okay, yeah, the app Shield app is looking great, and the dashboard too is looking perfect. I think it's a great job. It's nice.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ben, how about you?
Yes. The filter option is actually a great addition because I remember yesterday I was trying to filter out a particular nest to see how the data was. I couldn't find that, but I noticed from the presentation that we now have options to filter. So I think that's a great addition to the dashboard.
Great.
Awesome.
Great. Yeah, I did that last night when I realized that as I was having to find issues, I was having to match them up, and it was difficult. So I added that filtering ability. So that's good.
Yeah. Excellent.
Don't forget to ask the others.
Who else did I miss?
Luke and Dan.
Okay, Danny had to drop off. He had to go. Luke, what do you think about the report, the information from the Shield app?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's good work.
Okay, thank you.
Any more words there?
Or about any of the other things that we've talked about on how
Uncle doesn't talk much.
Jeez.
No, I don't really know.
Okay, we'll go to Elaina. She's right here. Hello. What is your feedback on the Shield app and the reporting
Good.
that we have?
I like the addition of the RN filter so that you can track who's entering things. That way, if like one person just has the procedure down wrong or something and they're entering it in incorrectly, then you can figure out who it is and then give them more training so that they know how to enter it correctly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that was a critical part is that it was good that we had more than initials in there and we had actual names because then Ben could seek them out and say, look, you're recording this wrong, change it. And then they were able to get trained better. So that's good. And what about Elaina? What are your thoughts overall? Like we haven't heard from you at all about anything. Like, what are your thoughts on the event and the way it went and the things that we could, one thing that it sounds that you heard that we could do better, that we should focus on? Do you have anything?
Not really. I think you guys kind of covered everything and have a good plan for working through the challenges moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's just trial and error with new technology.
Right.
Sure. Okay.
Great.
Well, thank you. Okay, I don't have anything else for the agenda or debriefing or anything. Kevin, do you?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Emmanuel, do you have anything else for the meeting?
Yeah, no, it's okay. I don't have anything.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Salam, how about you?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay. Warihana?
No, that's all from me.
Okay, thank you. Ben, how about you?
I don't have any other thing.
Thank you. Luke?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you so much again for all your hard work yesterday. Elaina, anything else?
No, I don't have anything.
Again, thank you for everything, all your hard work, your dedication. I am happy to meet with any of you individually. I know Salam and I are going to have a one-on-one this week. So any feedback, anything, please let me know how I can help and how can I assist. Thank you all for your dedication to the foundation. It means more than words can express to you guys, honestly. So thank you so much. Have a great week and we will chat soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.